Ma clasped her hands together, eyes bright.
Good job.
That's so lovely. A day? It was less than a whole morning.
Right?
True, I don't even want to think about what happens when you spend real time apart. I'm fine with spending real time apart, Liz. I can stand not being with my boyfriend for a whole day or longer. That's my boy. You reached back into the bag where you had first retrieved a box of fudge for everyone, shuffling it aside to take out the other, one underneath. You chuckled coolly, aware that the others were still watching you. The first one was for everybody, but that's not all I got. I bought a second bunch of fudge that's just for you. Cove's face lit up, his grin stretching from ear to ear. The laughter that came from the others, who were fully tuned into your little show, didn't appear to reach them.
Seriously?
Really? It's only for me? Cove took the box of fudge in one hand and claimed one of your hands with his other. He used the hold he had to lead you closer to him, while he lifted the hand to his mouth and peppered kisses on over your knuckles. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He looked at you with shining eyes. At this rate, it wouldn't just be your little group that knew that you'd been treating him. The whole parking lot was going to learn about it. Behind Cove, you could see Mom watching you both with a smile of hilarity. See? This is why he's so attached. You've spoiled him. You shouldn't make fun, Pam. It's clearly mutual. He's the one who's been giving me all of these piggybacks all this time. Piggyback rides. Besides, I don't hear you complaining when I'm spoiling you. Ma pinched Mom's cheek, making her laugh as she batted the hand away.
True.
True. Liz clapped her hands together with the air of a teacher calling for attention. Since the other adults aren't acting like grown-ups, the rest of us are going to have to pick up the slack. It's time to get back on schedule and continue with the rest of the errands. Playtime is officially over. Ma laughed while Mr. Holden grinned awkwardly. Mom hung her head in an exaggerated display of the mock defeat. Kids are tough, and I can't even call them kids anymore. Liz tut-tutted with amusement at her mother. Cove shrugged, staying a neutral observer, but the small smile on his face revealed that he was enjoying the conclusion. You laughed at that everyone was getting along. That's right, we're all grown-ups now. With that, your trip to the farmer's market was closed. It was time to move on. Move on, Vaughn. There were too many of you for one car, so you and Cove had wound up in Mr. Holden's car on the way over. You figured it made sense to do the same for the next leg of the journey. You sat next to Cove in the back. Immediately after the click of the seatbelt in its lock announced that Cove was safely strapped in, he began to unfold the box of fudge he'd been given. You're gonna eat now? Uh-huh. He nodded eagerly, not taking his eyes on the container. He lifted the top off and longingly admired the selection inside. Milk chocolate fudge is a staple. You can never go wrong with that. Minty fudge is perfect for the end of snacking. It's so refreshing. That looks like cookies and cream. That's a really cool flavor for fudge. Once Cove had finished bestowing praise on what you had picked, he promptly started sampling the selection. He was smiling, licking his lips, and having a grand old time. You also could tell from the way his nibbling was turning into munching that the box wasn't going to survive the trip to the next stop. You were right. Cove had tried to savor the treats, claiming just one more until there was only one left, and the statement was finally forced to be true. He finished the last one too. He sighed contentedly.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Vaughn. Those really were great. You're welcome. He set the picked clean box to the side, then rested his hands on his spoiled tummy. Cove wasn't going to be hungry for a while after that. From there, he sat wordlessly, gaze drifting to the window. You knew Cove well enough to spot the signs of when he was physically present but mentally elsewhere. The way he would fall quiet, staring without seeing, the long blinks, all which he was doing right now as he looked at nothing in particular. He licked his fingers absent-mindedly, getting the last of the melted fudge off his hand. You were pleased he'd enjoyed it so much. Is it too late to ask for a taste? You teased him. I would have enjoyed a bite too, he said seriously. You looked away, feeling bashfully over how well your gift had been received. Is it too late for a taste? You teased him. Cove straightened up at the sound of your voice, his pose stiff. He turned away, his hands smacking over his mouth instead. You were miles away for a second. What were you thinking about? Well, I was just thinking about how nice you are. How nice I am? Yeah. His face grew redder as his hands clenched around the top of his knees. You stared at him, hoping for an explanation, but Cove simply ducked his head. When he next spoke, his voice was barely more than a whisper. I'm lucky I get to be with you. That's so sweet. I feel lucky too. You laughed happily. You blushed. His words stunned you. I feel lucky too. He peeked at you from the corner of his eyes, still too shy to look at you directly. You smiled at him affectionately, eliciting an equally caring smile from Cove in return. You felt content, secure in your relationship with Cove. You decided to enjoy your drink now. You wanted to save the drink for later. I'll enjoy the drink now. You twisted it off, while I'm in this scene, you twisted off the cap and brought it to your mouth. Even before the first sip reached your lips, the scent trickled your nostrils. See, that's how you know it's good lemonade. You took a swig. It was refreshing, the perfect way to hit the spot after a long morning travel trawling through the market. This is great, thanks, Cove. He grinned at you, pleased that his pick had been well received. One big secret about making homemade lemonade to make it truly superior is you don't just, most people know that lemonade is lemon juice and water and sugar. But if you really want to take it to the next level, you want to actually add in the oils from the lime peel. The zest. The zest of lemons contains so much lemon flavor. And so what you do is you take sugar, the sugar that you would put into the lemonade anyway, and you basically take the peel of the lemons and stick them in the sugar and wait for about an hour or two-ish, and that sugar will draw the oils, all the natural lemony flavor oils from the lemon peel. And then you dissolve that in the water. You probably will have to heat or boil the water. You dissolve the peel and the sugar in the water so that the water dissolves the sugar, and then, strain out the peel through a sieve and stuff. And then mix in the lemon juice. So that, using the oils from the peel, makes a huge difference. That's what makes what they call State Fair lemonade, which is superior lemonade than just mixing lemon juice and sugar and water together. Because the lemon juice does have lemon flavor in it, but it also has a lot of sourness, which isn't bad because that's part of lemonade, is the sourness. But if you want more actual lemon flavor without the sourness, that's from the peel.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You spent the rest of the day completing the remaining errands all together as a group. You had enjoyed your brief independence. You were glad that you'd closed the day with everyone. I like my brief independence. These are both. Can I pick both? I appreciate my brief independence, but I also like spending the day with everyone. This is going to be slightly the better choice between the two, because this, to me, is more important. You were glad that you closed the day with everyone. I am an extrovert, after all. Ma had been true to her word and ensured that you spent the rest of the time with the Angel family and the Holden family in one place. It had been a wonderful time, a lovely high note to end on. That was a lovely one. I enjoyed that moment a lot. That was cool. I liked it. The fudge part was a pleasant surprise. I still feel like the parents' plan didn't make any sense, but it is what it is. Okay, I am curious about the charity moment. Sun beamed in through your window, warming your skin as you lay comfortably on your bed. With your arm hovering in the air, you held your phone above your face, squinting against the sun to read the latest text Cove had sent through. He was out with the group he volunteered with, Orca, doing some kind of activity. They'd been at it since early that morning, and he'd been keeping you updated by messenger. The latest one explained how he'd just finished cleaning up the beach and was now heading over to man a stall on the shopping street to sell tickets for a fundraising dinner. Before then, he wanted to call. You didn't mind that and replied saying as much. As you waited for it to come in, you let out a big breath, thinking of the formal dinner that Orca organized. Being a completely fundraising-focused event for large donors, it was crucial for the organization's projects in the year to come. That's why Cove had been so busy lately. All you had heard about it so far was that it was a prim and proper occasion, with speeches and everything. And then the notification popped up, incoming call. You picked up immediately. Hi.
Sorry.
Hey, Vaughn. Sorry, I don't have a lot of time to talk, but this was my chance, so, It sounds like you're doing a great job. Are you sure you're getting enough rest? I hope you can pull yourself away from your beloved beach. What a mature and responsible boy you are. I wish you were here with me instead. Are you sure you're getting enough rest? That would be me. I wouldn't want to see you crash and burn after all the work you're doing. Yeah, I'm taking breaks.
I mean,
Do you want to come by to see me? At the booth, I mean. Sure, why not? Okay, cool. See you soon. It's just down on the shopping street. You'll see it. Alright, bye. See you. After the temporary goodbyes, you tucked your phone away and pushed yourself up from your bed. Heading downstairs, you found Ma lounging in the living room, seated on the couch with her legs tucked up and a magazine in her lap. She looked up at the sound of your footsteps, giving you a smile. Hey, sweetie, what are you up to? Cove just finished his first orc activity. He's going to the shopping street to sell tickets for their fundraising dinner. I'm gonna meet him there.
That's fantastic.
Good idea. That sounds wonderful. She nodded happily, and then her face fell a little as she put her magazine to the side. I'm still sad your mom and I can't make it to the dinner that night. She seemed honestly disappointed, but her face brightened again when she looked at you next. You'll be going, right? I can buy the ticket for you if you don't have enough. What's the price? Thanks, but Cove hasn't mentioned how much it is. I'll check it out when I'm there.
Okie dokie.
Perfect. Let me know how it goes. You agreed with a nod, walking backwards towards the door. Thanks, sweetie. Have a good walk, and tell Cove I said hello. I will. Bye, Ma. Strolling out the front door, you shut it behind you and let out a deep breath. You had known that the event was coming up, and that you'd most likely be going to support Cove, but you hadn't thought about it too much before now. With a small nod to yourself about everything you'd have to do, you began to walk to the shopping street. You hit the shopping street and casually walked along beneath the afternoon rays, window shopping and browsing through the various stalls that were set up around the place. It didn't take long until you spotted Cove's bright seafoam hair behind a counter and the banner advertising the fundraising event. He caught your eye as you headed over and stood from his seat with a smile, pleased to see you arrive. Raising a hand from the clipboard he held, he gave you a wide wave in greeting, inviting you to approach the counter. You came right up to the front of the booth, inspecting all the little plush sea animals that decorated it. That sounds cute, before turning your smile on Cove.
Vaughn.
Vaughn! You leaned in to kiss him across the counter. Cove took the cue as you moved forward, placing his hands on the tabletop and leaning his body over towards you. You kissed him on the lips, you kissed him on the nose, you kissed him on the forehead, you kissed him on the cheek, on the lips. Your mouths slightly brushed against one another. It was sweet and short, with a bit of awkwardness given the piece of furniture stuck between you. When you pulled back, he smiled at you sunnily, a pink blush spreading across his skin. Lifting a hand, he reached across to run his fingers along your arm gently, then he moved back and stood up straight, clutching his clipboard tightly. Hey, good to see you. Hey, you made it. Have you settled in and everything? He nodded, taking a quick survey of the simple booth. I appreciate getting to take a seat for a while. The beach was great, but it's nice to be off my feet for 5 seconds. He chuckled. You were glad to see that despite all the work he'd been doing, he was in high spirits. He seemed to really be enjoying working with the charity. So how much are the tickets for the event? He hesitated for a moment, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. They're $150. I only found out today. That makes sense. That's so high. That's pretty low for a formal fundraising dinner. I'll say that makes sense. Sounds like a pretty reasonable price for such a fancy event. I've seen way more expensive ones. Cove shrugged, glancing down at his clipboard as he answered. It's definitely not something I would normally be at, but it seems to fit the type of people who are into that kind of thing. Most people that have bought tickets wrote a check for it. I had never written a check for anything before. You laughed briefly and shook your head at him, and upon seeing the look on your face, he trailed off and cleared his throat softly. A couple of people did have cash though, but yeah, that's the answer to your question. He gave you an affectionate look, his eyes soft as they met yours.
Don't worry about it.
Not that it really matters. I'll get you a ticket. I just want you to be there. You will? Group members get to bring a guest? No, we only get entry for ourselves, and it's only people who volunteer a certain number of hours, or if they're actually part of the team running it. So basically, I'm gonna buy it for you. Oh, that's so sweet. You were shocked by that. It was so thoughtful of him to offer. No way, I'll get my own ticket. Thank you. I can't let you do that. It's too expensive to be a gift. I'll make it up to you somehow. I'll say, I can't let you do that. It's too expensive to be a gift.
No way.
I'm not asking my boyfriend to pay $550 to come as my date to dinner. To be fair, he has a job and I don't. So, to be fair. But then, of course, as I said in an earlier video, in real life, like around this time, I was getting an allowance. So, I did not have money either. Well, not an allowance. I didn't have an allowance. I had a credit card that I could use as needed as long as I didn't abuse it. This is something that would be sufficient for me to mention it to my parents at least and say, hey, I want to go to this thing and I was thinking about using their credit card to pay for it. And, 9 out of 10 times, my dad'd be like, knock yourself out, go for it, Besides, I've been planning on donating some money to the group at some point anyway. This is a chance to do it. Alright, if you're sure, I'd still rather buy my own. Can we at least split the cost? I mean, he really wants to do this for me. So as I said in another video, people really just want to do things for people. So let them do things for you. Especially if it's not excessively all the time. This is like a once in a blue moon kind of thing. If once in a blue moon kind of thing, Cove really wants to buy his boyfriend, treat his boyfriend to something because, he really wants to, it would be wrong to deny him that joy. People do find joy in doing nice things for people. So don't deny him that joy, especially if it's not excessive. Everything in balance. All right, if you're sure. He nodded, a smile slowly breaking across his face at your acceptance. What matters to me is that you're there. He glanced over his shoulder quickly before turning back to you, his lips tilting mischievously at the corners.
Well,
I'm not supposed to, but if you want, you can sit behind the counter and keep me company while I sell tickets. You burst out laughing. Heck yeah, you're such a troublemaker even when doing a volunteer work. You nodded, grinning him. I said, yeah, I'll burst out laughing. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean I don't want to? I'll burst out laughing. As funny as it was, that was definitely not a surprise coming from Cove. The afternoon passed in a blur, with you and Cove laughing and chatting in between ticket sales. As the time drifted on and the sun sank lower in the sky, 6 p.m. finally rolled around and you helped him to get everything packed up to call it a day. As you headed back home together, you thought of the fundraising dinner and how close it was now. There was still plenty to do before the big night arrived. The days continued on in a normal flow, and before long, the night of the Orca fundraising dinner was upon you. It was early evening, and you were in your room getting ready as the minutes ticked closer and closer towards the time you needed to leave. You wanted some privacy, so you'd locked yourself away in your own. Liz was helping you pick out an outfit. Cove was on speakerphone. Liz was helping you get ready while Cove was on speakerphone. I'm gonna say Liz was helping you pick out an outfit. You stood in front of her. I kind of want to have a Liz moment right now, And plus, I like it when people help me pick out clothes. That was fun for me. You stood in front of her considering different items while she sat on the edge of your bed, lips pursed tight. She had given a firm yes or no to each item you showed her, which had now reduced your options down into a small pile to choose from. The event had strict guidelines, and you wouldn't be let in unless you were dressed to code. That meant having to find a truly professional outfit, but one that you were also happy with. You were happy to have the chance to dress fancy. You wanted to be practical about it. You weren't happy about having to dress up. At this age, I really enjoy dressing up. I liked it. I think part of it's also because I appreciated other people dressed up, men and women. I appreciated when women dress nicely. I appreciate when men dress nicely, and it makes me want to dress nicely too. You're happy to have the chance to dress fancy. There were a couple of outfits that didn't get nearly as much use as you would have liked, and now was the time to show them off. That's pretty much me. You smiled as you picked your way through the items, your excitement shining bright.
It's fine.
You don't need to get too in your head thinking about that look, but you do need to hurry up and pick something. Oh, aren't you helpful, Liz? Don't push me, Liz. You laughed a little. You shook your head. You laughed a little. It really shouldn't be this difficult to pick something out. You just needed to take the plunge and do it. Taking a deep breath to refocus yourself, you looked over the options one last time. It was time to decide on an outfit, and quick. Ooh, can I pick out something? You chose a dress. I'm not a dress person, personally. Not a dress person. You chose a button-down shirt and pants. You chose a blouse and pants. You chose a button-down shirt and skirt. You chose a blouse and skirt. I love all these options for different people. I definitely am choosing a button-down shirt and pants, although I would love to have a coat along with it too, like a blazer, sports jacket, Liz nodded in approval, clapping her hands together, satisfied.
Good.
Finally, we're making some progress. Standing in front of your mirror, you quietly assessed your outfit. You thought about adding an accessory or two. You liked your outfit as it was. Oh, what kind of accessory are you talking about? You needed a little something extra to finish it all off. Rummaging through the rest of your wardrobe, you picked out what you needed to complete your outfit. A necklace, a bracelet, a watch, a belt, a ring, a pair of earrings, an anklet, a hat, a buttoned vest. Ooh, buttoned vest. Ooh! A tie, a shawl. I mean, I need a tie and a button vest. But can I do a button vest? It was a formal event after all. You couldn't think of a better time to wear it. And a tie. Liz took the item from your hands and helped tie it around your neck correctly. Excuse me. I can tie my own ties, thank you very much. Okay? I am very proud of how, even at a young age, I knew how to tie my ties properly. Excuse me, Liz. You stopped correctly helping me tie my tie around my neck correctly. Psh, please. You stepped in front of the mirror when she was done nodding in approval. I can dress myself, you know. I just wanted your opinion on an outfit, on what to get. Definitely a hat. It took a minute or so to rummage through your wardrobe to find it, but it gave your outfit an extra special touch. You know, one with like a feather in its cap. Not a shawl, not an anklet, not a pair of earrings, a ring, a belt. I mean, I need a belt. You slipped a belt around your waist and fastened the buckle, nodding at your reflection in approval. A watch. Grabbing your watch from your bedside table, you fastened it around your wrist and quickly checked the time. It was almost time to go. A ring, like my class ring. I totally would be wearing my class ring. You couldn't leave the house without slipping on that. Holding your hand up to the light, you quietly admired the way it glinted. See, I'm not a huge, jewelry person in general, but I do like my class ring. I do like my wedding ring. My wedding ring is pretty tight in my opinion. But yeah, other than that, I don't really like any other jewelry. I have worn necklaces before, like the pendants. It's more of a pendant, but not to a formal gathering. Not a bracelet person, not an anklet person or a shawl person, and that was everything. Even though I know that Cove likes anklets, for this event, I'm gonna pass. And that was everything. And with that, you decided to apply makeup. Not a makeup person, although I do know how to do makeup for theater. I will apply theater makeup, not because I like makeup, but because I have to wear it. You asked Liz if she could put makeup on for you. Yeah, I was ready to go. Finally, you were dressed. It had all come together. Cove sent through a text saying he was heading to the car and would see you in a bit. When you looked at Liz again, she had a goofy smile pulling at her lips. You look very nice, Fawn. Thank you. You twisted around your outfit excitedly. I do look good, don't I? Now you're talking like our moms. You blushed and smiled a compliment. You twisted around your outfit excitedly. Knowing you had made the right decision with everything had you feeling more confident. Liz wiped the pretend tear from her away with her finger, sniffling dramatically. Oh, precious Vaughn, you're really all grown up. It happened in the blink of an eye, and I wasn't even looking. Yes, so grown up I can tie my own tie, sis. She chuckled to herself, nudging you towards the door. All right, time to get downstairs. You're very official, though still kind of baby boyfriend awaits. You carefully headed down the stairs and into the living room, where your moms were waiting for your appearance. As you entered, they both stood from the couch and came over to you, smiling broadly. You look so wonderful, Vaughn.
Nice.
And very mature, too. I know, right? They continued to coo and fuss over at you until you managed to brush them off. Ma took Mom by the arm and held her close, the two of them admiring you proudly. You enjoyed the attention. Thank you, you smiled dramatically. You already got this from Liz. You wonder why they were making such a big deal. No, I enjoyed the attention. How do you like my outfit? Another round of praise began, and you smiled happily to yourself. It was nice being so lauded. Ma came in to give you one last hug, and before you knew it, another pair of arms was wrapped around you, and then a third. Both Mom and Liz giggled as they hugged you tight. We hope you have so much fun tonight.
Have fun.
We won't wait up for you. Stay out as long as you need. You're old enough now. With a last wave goodbye, you left your family and approached the front door. It was time. Stepping out into the night, you closed the door behind you gently and looked out across the street. Cove was standing there in the street, his eyes met yours immediately, as if he had been watching your house for the moment you would come out. He smiled bashfully. Hey, Vaughn. Hey, I hope you're ready to do this. You took the chance to check over his outfit as he walked across the way to meet you. He was formal for sure, though he didn't feel overly posh. It made sense for him, and he was honestly a sight for sore eyes. He was always beautiful to you. With a growing smile, he stepped closer, his cheeks reddening all the way down to his neck.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming with me and for dressing really nicely for this. Your outfit, it's just perfect. Thank you. You felt shy over it. You look amazing tonight. You're so hot right now, you said flirtatiously. Cove hung his bright red face in embarrassment after that. He wrapped his arms around his torso bashfully as if trying to protect himself in the outburst from further teasing. It's not really teasing if it's true. Come on, Vaughn. You laughed at the reaction. Then he shook his head, glanced back towards the garage, and throwing the thumb over his shoulder, spoke.
Come on.
We should probably get going. Wouldn't want to be late to such a grown-up event, right? Yeah, let's go. You headed over to Cove's car together, hopping in and strapping on your seatbelts. You were on your way. The event was being held at a place you had never been to before. You brought up the location on your phone to help Cove navigate there. It took some time to find the right address, and once there, you were met with the task of finding a parking spot. Though you were on time, it seemed like everyone else had already showed up and claimed the spaces. Eventually, you found a suitable place before realizing that it required payment. Cove covered the amount, taking a ticket from the machine and leaving it in the dashboard of the car. Oh, wow! Look at this! I am loving this. The decor, the whole theme, I love the glistening lights over the ceiling. It's like the floating candles in Hogwarts. In the Hogwarts, main hall. Despite the small holdup, you managed to ultimately make it to the event and confirm you were on the guest list before being shown into the dining area. Cove whistled low as he looked around, taking in the extravagance of the room. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the entire place was decked out with beautiful oceanic displays. Now see, this is something that I would spend $150 on. This is just the whole ambiance and the whole feel of it and the decor. I get why this is $150. You were stunned yourself. It was extremely high class, even more so than you had already expected. It's so nice. This is the best looking event I've ever been to. It's way too frilly for me. Nah, I like frilly. It's so overdone, could be worse, you didn't comment. This is the best looking event I've ever been to. Your lips parted in a wondrous smile as you took in the decorations and the guests all dressed to the nines. Cove met your eyes with a similar look on his face. You got the impression that he felt the same way about it all. The sound of Cove's name being called out echoed over the din of the room. When you looked around, there were a couple of unfamiliar people coming your way. They headed over to greet Cove, giving you both a welcoming smile and hello. We're glad to see you make it, Cove, especially after all the hard work you've done to help make this night happen.
Of course.
Definitely, I wasn't gonna miss it. You must be Vaughn. Cove was mentioned you so often. It's so nice to finally meet you. Yep, that's me. When you glanced over at Cove for confirmation, he smiled, pleased with himself, a small flush of color covering his cheeks. Vaughn and I, we've known each other a long time, since we were just kids. That's wonderful. There's nothing like old friends. Yeah. Cove, we have to thank you for everything you've done for Orca. You're always welcome to join in on more activities when they come up. You too, Vaughn, if you ever decide that's something you're interested in. You nodded your head in understanding, giving a small smile. We'd better head off to greet the other guests. It was lovely speaking with you both. You all said your goodbyes, and they faded off into the crowd, leaving you and Cove on your own once more. Cove shrugged then, eyes darting around the place with an awkward look.
So...
I guess we should talk to more people. There isn't much else to do at an event like this. You found your way into groups of people who were standing around, chatting while some light music played in the background. Servers with large silver trays were gliding between the guests, offering drinks and canapes. Cove approached various people as you wound your way through the guests. He managed broaching new conversations well. Wow, I'm actually impressed how much Cove is working the room socially. That's actually kind of odd. You were enjoying talking to so many different people, both guests and members of the organization alike, and found yourself enjoying the company. I'm surprised they didn't ask us that question, because for the people who are a little bit more like reserved, around people that they don't know or are more introverted. I'm surprised they didn't ask about that.